Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third webinar. Bienvenidos to the Lideramos Leadership webinars. This is our third one, and today promises to be an enlightening one to bring you balance, mindfulness, and the ability to focus, all traits that leaders need today. Lideramos has been formed to expand, connect, and enhance the quality and impact of leadership programs in America, but really to build the leadership capacities of Latinos at this important time when we are at the crossroads of power. So welcome. I'm Juana Bordas. I'm the president of Lideramos, and I want to announce that October 3rd through 6th, we are having the first National Latino Leadership Symposium and have gotten Dr. Barry Posner, who is one of the top leadership experts in the country, to come and be with us. His book is one of the top 100 books of all time. There's going to be more information about the symposium, so stay tuned. But we hope that you will consider joining us in Denver on October 3rd. This is our website. Lideramos is now first year of operations. You can check us out, stay connected, and find out more about Latino leadership resources. Now let's get started with our third webinar presented by Criss Cuervo, who is the founder of Alma y Espíritu, which means soul and spirit. And she is going to be talking with us about staying centered, increasing clarity, and having mindfulness as a leader. Criss has been interning with Lideramos since January and has a great amount of information and fun things to share with you. So let's get going. Criss, take it over.
Thank you, Juana. Thank you very much. Welcome everyone, and thank you for making the time to be here with me and Juana today. And I also want you to thank yourself for making the time to find this center and increase your clarity and find healthy tools to deal with the stress that we face in our daily lives. So welcome. So this is a little bit of the plan that we have for today. And I just wanted to show you what we're going to be covering during this conversation. I want to remind you that you can ask questions. So I'll try to keep an eye on that toolbox just to answer any questions that you may have. And I also wanted you to take the time right now to start practicing mindfulness by just muting your phone, closing your email. If you're in a conference room or in your office, closing the door, and just finding yourself here with me and just relaxing. And my goal here today will be to transmit tranquility and peace and patience and share with you a lot of the things that I have learned in my career in corporate America and now in my new vocation to share the tools of healthy ways to deal with the stress that I faced in my life as well. So there's an alternate to just leading from the top down. It's leading from the inside out. And this is something that I hope that you can see as we go through each of these topics today. So about me. So why am I teaching you this today? Why am I talking about this today? So after 13 years in corporate America, and one of the biggest, the most time I spent it was with one of the biggest Latino brands in the U.S. with Dish Latino in a leadership role. I left at the top of my career. And why did I leave? I left because I wanted to find tools for people to be able to manage stress and just life, the pressure, the deadlines, the overload, just the meetings, the traveling, the family, the relationships, all these things, the bills that we have. the pressure to have, to be successful, the pressure to accomplish, to make a difference, the sales quotas, the budgeting, and all these things that come with leadership, and how to manage that. So I started to look for myself, and then now that I have found tools, I'm starting to share them with the world and with you guys today. So my motto was work hard, play hard. I'm sorry. And this is something that most people found, and I still, a lot of people use it a lot today still. But what is happening in this type of imbalanced way of living and working and being? So I'm just going to share a little bit of data with you so you kind of know what I'm talking about. So according to the 2009 Happy Planet Index, the United States ranks 114 for the happiest place in the planet. On the in the Americas, the nations that are closer to the top were Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Guatemala, which are countries that are not first world countries and that do not have the opportunities that we have here in the U.S. To build, this leadership career. So right there, we're starting to see the success in this imbalance of overworking ourselves is not helping in our happiness. Also, in Harvard, a business review showed that 1 in 5 engaged employees are at risk of burning out, disconnecting, just not being able to perform. And many of us, experience this throughout our careers. So specifically for Latinos, we also have another level of stress because we have this familismo. So it's this deeply held cultural belief that our family, it's important in our daily life. So we, on top of our work and our pressures for the things that we do, we also have this pressure to be the great parent, to be the mom, to be the dad that is always there for our kids. So that adds up to the stress that's already existing in the United States. But for Latinos, according to the American Psychological Association, Latinos suffer from the highest level of stress. So 1 in 5 Latinos has never done any type of activity to find a way to relieve the stress from their life. And that's why we brought this, and we're bringing this to people, because we want to bring them the tools to be able to cope with the stress that we all face in life. That's me attempting and every day practicing the things that we will talk about today, to be able to live a life in balance and not live in this work hard, play hard mode that is not actually making me happy, or probably it's not making any of us happy. So what is mindfulness? Well, you've probably seen it on the magazines at the airport, or you've seen it and it's all over the news, online articles, and it's all over, and that's good. But what I want to make clear here, and I want to be able for you guys to leave today having a better idea of what it means to practice mindfulness. So mindfulness, it means paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment and not judgmentally. And this is by John Kabat-Zinn. So we will break this down a little further into the presentation, but I want you to already have an idea that what we're talking about. What we're talking about is this awareness, this presence, this being. Right now, you listening to me and actually being and not looking at your phone or checking your email, because I've been there and we all do it. So focusing on purpose, making that effort to be here, to learn, to cultivate a healthy tool for you. So you can cultivate, once you cultivate these healthy tools for you, you can be a better leader, a better mother, a better father, a better husband, because you are you cannot give what you do not have in you. So this is a pretty good example that a picture can show you what it means to live in a more mindful way. So when you're not being mindful, you're probably walking in the mall, in the shopping mall, and your head is thinking about your meeting, that you need to do this, that you need to pick up your kids, that you're thinking about planning, thinking, and you're not really where you are. So it compares this to a dog, that they're always in this awareness, in this presence. They don't have this habitual thinking that we do have. And our thoughts, and this is what is happening in our head, is basically that we are not training our thoughts to we're not training ourselves to be the owners of our thoughts and be in control of our thoughts. Instead, our thoughts are being in control of ourselves. So we are not where we are. We're not being present because we are being pulled by all the things that we have to do, the future, and in the past, the things that we could have, should have done. So we're being pulled away from this moment by our untrained mind. So that's what we're doing in mindfulness. We're training the mind to focus, and that's what I called this webinar, the center, finding focus. So I wanted to give you an example, and this is a pretty good story, very interesting. Aena, you probably heard of this health insurance company. So back in 2012, they introduced mind-body stress programs in their location, in their corporate offices, and they include mindfulness at work, and then also Vini Yoga stress reduction classes. And why are they doing this? So this is a picture actually of the CEO, Mark Bertolini. He actually had a near-death encounter a couple of years back, and he started to seek Eastern wisdom and to help him recover. So he then, once he found mindfulness and these tools, he decided to share with more than his 13,000 employees. So what happened? In 2001, his son, Eric, who was 16 at the time, was diagnosed with a rare type of cancer. And Bertolini, who you see here in the picture, he decided to quit his job then he used to work with Cigna, the other health insurance, and he decided to move into his son's hospital room to help manage his care. Gratefully, his son recovered after 2 years of intensive care. But then again, he was struck with complications and needed a kidney transplant. Bertoni stepped in as his father, and he donated his kidneys, one of his kidneys, to his son. So this experience and another accident that he had skiing in 2004 completely changed the way he saw health and the extension of healthcare. So Aena is a great example of how they're introducing mindfulness, not only for the benefit of the well-being of the employees, but also they have seen healthcare costs have fallen a total of 7%. That's about $6.3 million attributed to this implementation of mindfulness training and yoga stress reduction in their offices. So today they have a room dedicated for this at their corporate office. Also, they have found there the productivity gains equaling 11-to-1 return on investment. So the benefits go further than just the well-being of humans, of people. Another story I wanted to share with you, it's Microsoft. These are pretty big names out there, and I don't think the media is doing a very well job going in depth telling us what is it that is happening out there. So what happened with Microsoft? Microsoft in 2000, about maybe 4 years ago, welcomed a new CEO, Satya Nadella, and his goal in a recent launch of a book and a recent interviews that he has done, his goal is to make Microsoft a mighty and mindful place. And I can attest to this. I have one of my colleagues is actually working on developing the mindfulness program in Microsoft. But in the process that they're doing this, they still haven't implemented it yet. They do have outsourced some of the tools that they're providing. But they did find a study that they did in 2015. They found that their own software products, such as email and instant messaging, were actually interfering with the ability for their employees to complete their tasks. So their employees were interrupted about 10 to 30 times per hour, like we all are. If you're looking at this picture, you probably always, you see the red little box on that email, and you cannot let it be, and you have to check and see what's going on. So that's interruption after interruption. So in this study, they saw that it took them every time that they were interrupted by instant messaging or email, it took them about 15 to 20 minutes to get back on task. And what 1/3 of the time, it took them over 30 hours to take on task. So this study suggested that their employees were almost never focused because they were constantly being distracted. So the study found that the email stimulates the same brain pathways as any addiction. So we need to ask ourselves, are we addicted to self-interruption? It can be a very negative cycle. So the less we pay attention, is the harder it becomes to pay attention. So we become less mindful. We cannot, this ability to be present and to be actually where you are becomes a very hard task. So when we think we're doing 2 things at a time and we say, oh, I'm a great multitasker, we're actually switching very rapidly back and forward between one thing and the other. So the study found, and you've probably read it already here on the screen, that multitasking lowers our pace by 40% and lowers our IQ by 15 points. And it also impairs our emotional intelligence, which is the ability to be able to connect with people and be personal with others, have compassion, understanding, and be able to have more successful communication, in-person communication. And this is something, and emotional intelligence is something that leaders is a must for leaders, because they need to be able to build these connections with the people that they inspire and the people that follow them and the people that they manage. So let's go a little bit further into multitasking. Multitasking literally drains the energy of your brain. And this is proven. Stanford did a study in 2009 that showed that people that are regularly bombarded by several streams of information do not pay attention, they have no control of memory, they feel exhausted, and they get distracted very easily. So let me give you an example, and this is probably, this was me 5 years ago. So if your morning routine consists of checking email, browsing Facebook, drowning in coffee, heading to a train, at the same time you're Googling an idea, then you're checking your notifications, and then you're having more coffee, and then you're going through your work email. If you're doing all this in your morning routine, by the time you get to the office, you're probably going to be exhausted because you're practicing this switch back and forward multitasking that is exhausting for our brains. So it actually uses an oxygenated glucose in the brain. It's like running down the same fuel that we need. We're running down the fuel that we need to be able to focus and pay attention. So what's the solution? So the solution, according to Stanford, is to dedicate chunks of time for each activity. So check your email first thing in the morning, and then at noon, then at 4 p.m. Set aside 10, 20 minutes to go on Facebook in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. And it's also good to start paying attention and knowing that perhaps watching a soccer game and at the same time emailing somebody at work is probably not the best idea. So this switching back and forward is something that is taking a lot of our energy, and maybe we don't realize it, but it is. So why you as leaders need to be mindful? And I want to read something here by Peter Block. Leadership is a commitment to work on yourself first. Also, Dr. Karen Wilson recently launched a book. It's called Lead Yourself First. So leader success depends on the ability to be personal, this emotional intelligence I mentioned earlier. It's this ability to be connected with others, to listen to them, to listen to people, to see beyond what's happening on paper and on emails. And this is something really hard to do when we're stressed out as leaders. This is really hard, to be able to dedicate time to others, to listen, to see what's going on, to find the issues when we are feeling stressed out. So why do we need it as leaders? We need it for managing stress, to avoid feeling overwhelmed, to avoid burning out because we have too much to do, not enough time. Our funding is not enough. We have to budget. We have all these things to worry about. To feel less scattered. This ability to focus, concentrate, get things done. Regain this ability to focus. So we can manage all the projects that we have. We can meet all the deadlines that we have. We can embrace the changes in the organization, embrace that our best employees leaving, and just deal with, sometimes difficult people that we work with. So lead from your center, that's what we need this. And that's what we need to work on this training of the mind. So we can remain calm when things are not going the way we want. So we can make better, clear decisions, have a clear mind to make wise decisions and be able to actually authentically inspire others. So find work and also to find, a balance, this balance that I started talking about between, life and not have that motto of work hard, play hard. Be able to balance what's going on at home and what's going on in the office. Manage your emotions, manage your thoughts, and be in control of yourself. So you're probably already thinking, I don't know, qué aburrido. This is not for me. It's not the right time. I don't have time. No tengo tiempo. I did this. I said all this. So I believe, some of these are my examples and from people that I practice with now, also their examples, the most common ones. I'd rather be doing something else. I have too much work to do. Tengo demasiado trabajo. I'll do it later, tomorrow, maybe when I find time. And I'll just be mindful with what I'm doing. It doesn't work for anything. No sirve para nada. I'm just wasting my time sitting here meditating. I'm wasting my time. So these are things that leaders have said and that you're probably thinking too. So don't let this stop you from finding the time, because the time, it will be hard to find at first, but once you start seeing the results, seeing what it does, how you feel, I can assure you that you will make the time, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, and we'll do some exercises, in a little bit. We'll practice short things that you can take away with you, and you can practice in your office. You can practice in anywhere you are. Because as leaders, we're very, very mobile. We're busy. We have a lot of things. We're being pulled from many directions. So I hope that these tools are going to help you bring them with you where you go. So who uses mindfulness? I wanted to give you a couple of examples of people and where mindfulness is being used in the law field, the medical field, insurance agents, social activists, office managers, in the education field, in the technology industry. Probably heard of Google, that they were the pioneers of introducing mindfulness trainings in their offices. Mental health professionals, corporations, the military, athletes, everywhere is being implemented. So I'm going to give you a few pictures, a few examples of a lot of my colleagues that are doing work. And here we can see first responders getting mindfulness training on the beach. Pretty nice. So why are they getting this training? So they can find a way to decompress, find a way to relieve the stress, the pressures, and all the responsibilities that come with being a first responder. Also here, there are programs for the homeless, so they can find a way to cope with the process of returning to their normal life. So cope with mental health, emotional stress. Nonprofits also here an example that are being trained to help relieve the stress that they face with so many things to do, little time, little money. To be more focused, to be able to integrate the mind and the body in their work. With children as well, a beautiful work that's being done to help them in this new era of anxious and tech-driven generation, giving them new tools to cope with this new way of living. Also in athletes, as I mentioned before, they're using it for them to get in the zone. You probably heard of that expression, get in the zone. I'm in the zone when I'm competing. So it helps them concentrate, relax, and just be able to be where they are and perform at their best. Also, the yoga instructors are combining it, and this is something very natural. Meditation and yoga are very naturally very well connected. So it helps people find that inner peace and not only a workout when they're practicing. Also, college students, this is specifically an architecture class. They were using it to work on their creativity and also to manage the stress of school, of being in school. So those are pretty good samples. So what are the benefits of mindfulness? I already gave you a lot of them, but here's an overall, in the wellness part: better health, less stress, productivity at work, more attention, less mistakes, and the quality of our relationships. We are going to more compassionate, and more empathy, less anger, less aggressiveness. And these are proven, studies from the Massachusetts General hospital in 2013. They found that, you know, it helps reduce anxiety. In 2007, another research concluded that it helps sustain attention. And also specifically in the workplace, it decreases the stress, the perceived stress, and also increases the concentration levels and memory task for people. So who and where, who is implementing these programs? So just, you know, so you can have an idea. I'm not gonna go into detail here, but these are some of the places that have implemented programs in their organization, in their businesses. And they have seen, for example, Johnson & Johnson has saved over $250 million in healthcare costs since introducing programs to their employees. Malpractice insurance are teaching their physicians, because mindful doctors make less errors. So it's being that's why we see it in the news, because it's making a huge impact in various aspects of our world. So I wanted to here to clarify what mindfulness and meditation are not, before I go into the in-depth explanation of what they are. So they're not a religion, nothing to do with religion. It's not a special ability that you have to have. It doesn't require a lot of time, as I explained earlier. It's not a way that it's going to eliminate bad things and bad feelings and bad emotions in life. It's not a way to eliminate. It's a way to work with and manage and cope, but not a way to get rid of thoughts or feelings. It doesn't stop the mind. The mind, it's not a switch that you turn on and off. It cannot happen. It's a way to train the mind. So it's not a way to stop the mind. It's not a positive thinking method either. It's not going to change the way you think, your objectives, your passions. This is a tool for you, for your personal, to empower your inner self, so you can lead better and lead others from a place of stillness, of peace, of tranquility, of wisdom. So let me check if there are any questions here. There's a little box that you can write me if you have any questions. So what is mindfulness? So now, again, it means paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment and not judgmentally. So here we're going to do a couple exercises that you can do and you can practice after this webinar. But before, I want to give you a few examples. Mindfulness is not, when you're driving and you're thinking about all the meetings and all the things that you have to do, and you get home and you don't even know how you got home. So that's not being mindful. You're not there. You're not present. When you're in the shower and you're trying to check your email and you're not in the shower, you're planning your meeting, you're rehearsing the meeting already when you're showering. You're not enjoying, this showering is one of the things that helps us decompress, relax. And when we bring in the technology and bring in the distractions, and even just with the mind, thinking about the things we have to do, we're not being mindful. We're not cultivating this tranquility and relaxation that helps us have the energy to go and lead and inspire others. When we're doing the dishes, simple as that. We're doing the dishes and we're not paying attention to what we're doing. We're thinking about something else. So those are examples that when we're not being mindful, we're not being present. So we can understand what it is, this paying attention. So let's break it down and we'll do an exercise after this. So paying attention and purpose is the conscious direction of our awareness to something of our experience. So in a simple way, in simple words, we're basically paying attention to our touch, to our senses. We're becoming aware of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, what we think, and what we feel. So we added 2 more to the 5 senses. We add the thinking and the feelings. So we become aware of what's happening inside of us. So here, I'm going to ask you to find a place of relaxation within you. You don't have to go anywhere. It's in you. It's already in you. And we're going to practice a very short exercise that I call awareness, connecting with awareness to what it is, to the presence, to here, the now, this moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some music, and I'm going to show you pictures, a couple of pictures. And what I want you to do is, as you see every picture, I want you to get in touch with your sensations, with this 5 senses, and with the thoughts and the feelings, the other 2. So I want you to kind of get an idea of what's happening in you when you see these pictures, and just note it and just flow with the music and with the pictures. So I'll ask you to start by relaxing the shoulders and the jaw, the stomach. We tend to put a lot of tightness in our stomach. And I'm gonna play the music, and you won't hear me until the end, so just look at the pictures and just try to get a sense of what's happening in you. What are you thinking, feeling, memories, sensations? So with that, this practice is something that you can take with you, and it's going to help you become aware of what you're experiencing in front of you physically, emotionally, and mentally. Very simple exercise that you can do. To bring you back to where you are, to bring you back to this experience of this moment. And this is the first part of what we call pay attention on purpose. We're paying attention on purpose to these pictures to be able to get in connect with our physical, our thoughts, and our emotions, which we usually don't do this on a daily basis. So the other level of mindfulness, it's paying attention in the present moment. So we're not thinking about the past or the future. The past no longer exists. The future is a fantasy until it happens. So the only moment we can only truly have and experience is this present moment. So here we're also going to do a short activity, and this is called the grounding exercise. And this is very simple, very, very simple, that you can also do this. Nobody has to know that you're doing it. This is something that you do internally, and it's a way to cope and manage, the stress and the disconnection, the inability when we get distracted. So this activity, as I said, it's called grounding exercise. So I'm going to ask you to just, again, relax your body. And in this exercise, what we're trying to do, you're probably sitting like this person in front of the computer listening to me, or in a conference room. So I want you to physically start connecting with your body and find those areas of tension and let go of that tension between our eyes, in our jaw, in our shoulders, in our stomach. And we have our eyes open. So what we're doing here is grounding ourselves. So we're arriving to where we are. So I want you to look for 5 things that you see where you are. And very calmly find these things without talking. You just notice 1. You notice a second thing. You notice a third thing. 4th. And then a 5th. Now you're going to try to pay attention to what you're hearing, and you're going to find 4 things that you hear right now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I want you to find now 3 things that you can touch. You may touch the first thing. your pants, the desk, the second, and the third. So now we're going to find two things that you can smell. And you can take a deep breath for the first one. And then another deep breath for the second one. And if nothing comes, it's fine. And now if you have something in front of you, you may taste some water, some coffee, or if you don't, you just stay with one of the things that you can hear, touch, or feel. So this is a very simple exercise that you can practice anywhere when you're feeling unsettled, unfocused, distracted, even experiencing anxiety, stress. It's a very helpful tool for anxiety. It helps you calm the physical sensations that arise and it slows down the thoughts and the mind. So this is something that you can easily do during a conference call, in a meeting, while you're traveling. Traveling can be very stressful. While you're doing a long line at the supermarket, or even the TSA line, or driving, listening to to somebody give a conference, or even having a conversation with your spouse. Sometimes you're exhausted and you feel overwhelmed and stressed, and you can ground yourself, so you can be there for you and for that person. Even when you're at events that you may feel some unease, nervousness. These are things that a lot of people that do a lot of speaker events do before going on stage, is grounding themselves so they can be present where they are and find that place of peace and relaxation. The third part of mindfulness is non-judgment of the moment. So we have the direct experience of the moment without labeling as a good or a bad experience. So when we talk about and labeling something, what I mean is that unconsciously what we do is that we label things as me gusta, no me gusta. I like it or I don't like it. It's a good thing or a bad thing. And what happens when we do this, we create resistance, and we create the trigger to experience bad physical sensations and bad thoughts, and therefore bad sensations and feelings. So acceptance is one of the things that we work with in mindfulness, is that willingness that is not resigning to accept. Instead, is if we're opening ourselves to what is happening at the moment, and how it is happening. So here I wanted to give you an example of the TSA line. For me, it was horrible when I used to travel 70% of the time, and this was a really bad experience for me. And changing and being aware of that label that I was giving to that experience, and taking away the label, completely changed my experience. The same being in a crowded public transportation. I live in a big city. That was another thing that I used to label as a bad experience. So here I'm gonna do a poll, and I'm sorry I'm going a little faster because we we're running out of time, but I want to make sure that I give you all the tools that I wanted to give you today. So I'm gonna launch the poll right now, and it has been launched, and you can answer here on the toolbox. So basically what I'm putting up here is which of these situations that I'm gonna put on screen, it's a place that you can start rethinking the way that you label it. You know, you probably already give it a name of bad or good. So maybe which one of these, being in traffic, how do you label it, and which one are you willing to change the way you think and take it as a with another perspective of acceptance, but not resignation, of acceptance of what it is and what it actually the experience that is happening in that moment. The other one is when you have a sick child at home, and then when you wake up, the alarm didn't go off. So which one are you willing to work with? So you can, oh, let me launch it. And now you can answer. So what we're trying to do here is, you know, becoming aware that we probably already have a label for each of these three things. So making a commitment to not give it a label, so therefore we don't experience these bad feelings, bad thoughts, and getting caught in these patterns that lead to bad sensations, because we're already acknowledging that we gave it a label of what you should be feeling. So thank you. I see. Wow, good. So 60% of you are willing to change your perspective on being in traffic. I like that. And 44% are willing to change all of them, your perspective on all of them. So I'm going to close the poll, and thank you for those answers. So making the commitment to be aware, mindful is the first step on making a change in our lives, how we live and how we manage stress. Because once we label something as a bad experience, a bad thing, therefore follows the bad thoughts, emotions, and feelings, which are going to make our time not a very joyful time, and it's going to create more stress on us. It can be a stressful situation, but we can make that conscious decision to not label it and accept and embrace as it is, without thinking that we're giving it some type of resignation. So what is meditation? And this is more of a shorter part, but basically meditation is the actual practice, what we just practiced before here. Those are meditation practices that lead to mindfulness behavior. So it consists of training our attention so we can become more conscious of our internal world, and what occurs around us in the now. So we become aware of our sensations, our emotions, and our thoughts. Our field of awareness, in case you didn't know, we, 70% of the time, and my Spanish came out, el 70%, 70% of our time, we spend in our head. When I saw this, I was in shock. But then I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense. So 70% of the time we are lost in our heads, 25% we are being pulled by our feelings and our emotions, and 5% we're being engaged with our sensations. So what are we trying to do with mindfulness and meditation? We're trying to bring a balance. We're trying to balance this unbalanced connection. Instead of being controlled by our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions, we are no longer being controlled by those. We are in control. So we bring balance to being in grounding ourselves, becoming aware, like we did with the pictures, of our sensations, bringing that 5% up so we can get out of our heads and really experience the world out there. So we had planned to do a breathing meditation here. We don't have time, and I want to cover the last few slides. So we will leave that for a next time that we meet. But this field awareness is something that you should, think about and consider when you're thinking about investing in your inner care. So I'm going to be offering, just for Latino leaders, never has been done, a mindfulness for Latino leaders. It's specifically designed for us, for people like us. It's not the cookie cutter mindfulness training that is being done out there, that I have been through. That it works, but it doesn't connect with our roots and who we are as Latinos. So I'm gonna be offering this in June and July. It's a 8 weeks online, like we're doing here, once a week for an hour. We will have a holiday break because I know a lot of you are have your kids on vacation, so we will have breaks corresponding to the 4th of July. Space is limited. In my trainings, I like to have a small groups to be able to dedicate the time and be able to give people the guidance. So this includes a book that we will use for training, and one-on-one time. It's optional. It's not something that you, if you want to use it, you can. It's available, and practice materials. So a regular pricing for this is between $500 and $750, and you can look this up, or and you can see the mindfulness-based stress reduction training. It's in those prices, but with Líder Amos, and we understand that as Latinos, we are the ones that have the highest levels of stress. And my vocation and my goal is to bring the tools that I didn't have, that I wish I had, and now I have, and I want to bring them to you and to everyone. So the price that I will be charging for this is $249. So if you do want to register, I invite you to go to my website, almaespiritu.com, and sign up. The information is on there. So you hear from this takeaway, we did a couple of practices, and I want you to, there's a toolbox in this toolbar that you see where you where you have the information here, and you will see a handout box, and you can download a handout there. Let me see, make sure it's available. Yeah, it should be. It says handout, and it's a PDF, and it looks like this. And you have the 4 exercises that we did. We didn't get to do the breathing meditation, but you have the other 3 that we did, that you can take with you, and you can practice this, where you are, and just take this with you to have healthy tools to cope with the stresses that life brings with us and leadership brings with us. Also, I invite you to download free apps. I use Insight Timer. Headspace is another good one, and Calm. They have really good meditations there, and I invite you to download and try those. Those are really good tools. They have Spanish ones too. They have Spanish meditations within these applications. And with that, I want to close before I send it back to Juana, which she has a couple more announcements. But knowing others, and this is something that she shared with me, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. And it's a commitment that we do with ourselves. It's a gift that we give to ourselves so we can be better people, better leaders, better humans. So with that, I will send it back to Juana. And thank you very much.
Yes, thank all of you for listening. Criss, thank you for your dedication and putting this together for us. It was a real gift and we appreciate it. I just took a deep breath of lavender, which is another way to keep yourself centered. And I want everyone who is online that has worked with me and so forth, is that I've been practicing meditation for many, many years. And it's just a way to be centered, to get ready for leadership, and to give people your very best. And at the same time, to allow yourself to grow and to relax and to enjoy your life. I want to invite you for our next webinar, which is going to be really important. We're going to be all centered and ready to go. And Elizabeth Suarez is going to be talking about negotiation. I have taken her courses, and I can tell you that when someone says no, that's just the first step in negotiation. So she's going to teach you a lot of skills, and this will also assist you with being a better leader. So thank you all for joining us. Please remember about Lideramos, because we really are here to build the leadership capacity of the Latino community, to really pop our skills. And we'll be having our first national symposium in Denver, Leadership at the Heights, connecting communities, cultures, and civic change. Latinos are at the crossroads of power, and now is our time to really prepare ourselves to bring our incredible values and culture into the mainstream and to ensure that Latinos leverage their potential for the future and for generations to come. Thank you all again for being with us. Que vive la comunidad Latino, and may all of you be rested, centered, and able to lead from the inside out. Muchas gracias.